Nice Speech Lady. Useful resources for medical SLPs. Created by one who is just like you out in the field. Creative, practical, evidence-based resources. Building up, learning from one another.
Hello, welcome to the Nice Speech Lady Show. My name is Wilson Nice. I'm a speech pathologist and owner and creator of Nice Speech Lady, which is a resource website for medical SLPs and just a great place for providing a hub of information for speech pathologists that are out in the field. Everything that's provided on the website by Nice Speech Lady is complimentary, and it's something that you can go to and use the information and just have it ready for tomorrow. Wanted to take a moment to share with you a quote that I recently heard. It's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get up. That's Vince Lombardi. Now, I've never claimed to be a football person. My oldest son is quite the football fan. And I have other people in my family that are diehard football fans. But I do know that there's a lot of tackling and knocking down play after play after play, and you have to get back up for the next play. And it's about what's next, what's now, what's new, what's now coming down the pike. What are we going to do now? And as speech pathologists in the field, we have things that come our way. We get tackled down, we get knocked down, we have our achievements, and then we have our challenges, we have our triumphs, and then we have our issues that we have to solve. And I just want to encourage you today as you go out and face whatever challenges you're looking at, just remind yourself that when you do get knocked down, it's about getting back up, and it's about taking that next step toward achieving what you're wanting to achieve and pushing forward. One person that has been achieving her dreams is Mattie Murrey Tegels. She's the owner and founder of Fresh SLP. We'll get to her interview here in a little bit. I'm really looking forward to speaking with her. But I wanted to ask you to take a moment, please, and subscribe to this channel. Please like the channel and share it with your friends on social media. Also, please take a moment to go to nicespeechlady.com and subscribe. That way you'll be notified whenever I create a post, and you'll be aware when there's new materials available on the website. So wanted to take a moment and go to the website and share with you something that I recently had posted on the website. And Nice Speech Lady has a lot of resources, not just for the speech pathologist, but also for people who are related to our field, our allied friends. Here, if you go to at the top bar here for Allied Friends, and you click on For Allied Friends, I have some resources here for reasons to refer to speech pathology. And this is a great handout that you can use to give to providers, to nurses, to other therapists. And these are just all of the things that might be a good reason to refer to speech pathology in the medical setting. Just everything that's listed. If you see any of these symptoms, these are things that would be good to make a referral to speech pathology. So wanted to share that with you. I also have a handout on why speech pathology. I can't tell you how many times I've been told, oh, I don't need speech, I speak just fine. This might be a good handout to give to someone to talk about our scope of practice in the medical side, from swallowing to voice to communication to cognition. It just shares all of the things that we do. So it's a 3-page handout that talks about our scope of practice that might be helpful to give to patients or to family members to talk about our scope. Another thing that I wanted to share with you, I recently posted a new resource on the website for speech pathologists to use, particularly in a skilled nursing facility setting or in a home health setting, where it might be helpful for the patient to track their progress on goals. So If you go to the main page of the site and you go down to my weekly posts and you go down to March 3rd, 2021, Flexible Goals Progress Tracker available for patient benefit. So on this post, I published a resource that has, it's a spreadsheet that allows a place for you to document what goal it is that you're wanting the patient to track and what outcome that the patient desires that they'll be able to benefit from if they achieve that goal. So if they achieve a certain goal in the skilled nursing facility setting, once that goal is achieved, then they plan to go home, for example, and they have that written out as their exit plan. You know, they have a goal to achieve. Or another example would be if their goal to achieve is that they increase their frequency of performing certain swallowing exercises, then when they achieve that goal, then we'll do a certain trial with a certain consistency. So there's a place for the goal, there's a place for if they achieve their goal, what will occur, so what they're fighting for. And then there's a section for every day of the week, and then a section here for the weeks. So this is something that's helpful for patients to have, where they can track their own progress. They can write down in the sections how they feel they're doing on their goal and how they're tracking their own progress in sessions and outside of sessions. And it's just something that is a tangible way for them to see how they're performing on their goals. So this was a recent resource that I published on the site. I encourage you to go and utilize it, and just check out also all the other resources that are available on the site. If you go to the resource library, I have them organized by area of involvement in resource library number 1, from articulation on down to resource library number 2, cognition, down to fluency stuttering. So please check out the website and see what you can benefit from there on the website.
Hi, this is Walt Fritz from Foundations in Manual Therapy Seminars. I want to take a moment here to introduce you to my products, to my seminars, whether it's the online Voice and Swallowing Disorders course, which is an 8-hour online hands-on course that completely follows the 14.5-hour live course that I teach around the country and internationally, but also that live class, as well as a new class that I've got starting this year designed for the speech pathologist, voice professional, massage, physical therapist, etc., who's working with voice disorders, swallowing disorders, issues of breathing, mouth, tongue, etc. It's a pretty comprehensive set of courses that I've got to take even the novice clinician who's interested in adding manual therapy as a means of evaluation and intervention to their practice. And like I said, I've got the online course, I've got the live course that's starting up next month, and hopefully COVID allow us to continue it throughout the rest of the year and beyond. You can find information for all of this, the online as well as the live classes, at waltfritz.com. And if you use the discount code, I think it's Nice Speech Lady, for Wilson's lovely platform here, you'll get a 10% off discount on either the live class or the online class. Any questions? Let me know at waltfritz.com.
Now we'll move to the interview portion of our show. Mattie Murrey Tegels received her Master of Arts degree in Communication Sciences and Disorders from Washington State University and her undergraduate degree from Brigham Young University. She has spent more than 25 years working around the world as a medical SLP in a variety of settings and has mentored and supervised a plethora of students. She now lives in Minnesota and is an assistant professor and clinical supervisor for a graduate program and works almost exclusively with students. She also serves as the NSHLA advisor for the program. She sits on the Minnesota Speech Language Hearing Association as the Future Professionals Committee advisor, a member of SIG 3, 13, and 18, and she has presented at both her state level SLP organizations and ASHA Connect. In addition to being an SLP, Mattie is also a certified life strategies coach and is a speaker for the National Alliance of Mental Illness. She is the founder and creative drive behind Fresh SLP, a website empowering graduate students and new SLPs transitioning into their careers. It also features a podcast, a tiered membership program, courses, webinars, weekly touchdowns, and live streaming events. Fresh SLP offers individual coaching and group coaching and a private Facebook community. I also call her my friend. It is a pleasure today to introduce Mattie Murrey Tegels.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. You read all that and I think, wow, it's impressive, but it's just me doing what I love to do, having fun.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. I wanted to invite you on to give you a chance to talk about all your projects and just kind of touch base. And I know I've featured Fresh SLP in the past on the website, talking about, other great resources that are out there, other websites that offer great materials. I know that you offer a lot of freebies when you go to the site, if you sign up on the email. But before we get to your projects, I'd like to just talk about this year for the SLP, and what would you say would be the biggest challenges that we face? What are we facing this year, and what would you say would be the solutions and how we navigate those challenges?
I think I don't think that was on our list, but that's a good question. I think that one of the biggest challenges that we are facing as SLPs now is the challenge of being resilient, because pre-COVID, we had so much of our lives planned out and our careers planned out, and COVID has stopped us all short and has magnified what was a little piece of sand is now a speed bump in many areas. And it's being strong in the resiliency and pushing through these COVID times, staying true to ourselves and our careers and the patients and clients that we serve.
And what would you say will be helpful tools to help us be resilient in that way, to someone who's maybe struggling with that?
The most helpful tool that I find, because so much of my work at Fresh SLP comes from my trials and my world and my observations of other SLPs around me. One of the biggest tools that I find to be helpful is to first be really honest with ourselves and say, this is where I'm at and this is what I'm thinking. Second is to develop self-advocacy skills, self-care skills for ourselves, and say, yes, this is going well. No, this is not going so well, and I need to reach out. Whether that's mental health issues, academic issues, career issues, family issues, relationship issues, financial issues, just having the courage to say, this is where I'm doing well and where I'm not doing so well. After we've looked at those issues, then self-advocating for ourselves and saying, I am the one that is responsible for me, so I'm going to step up and get the resources that I need. And finding that it might be a sense of community with other SLPs who have some of the same questions, finding a safe space with friends to process, vent, problem solve, critically think through some options, and finding then the resources that you need to step forward into moving your life and your career forward in the direction that you want it to go. So self-advocating, looking honestly, setting goals sounds just too clinical. It's not goals, but it's saying, this is who I want to be, and stepping forward into that.
Right. And then seeking out assistance, maybe if we don't know how to get there, how to take those strategic steps to, achieve those goals. And one of those resources that people can seek out is Fresh SLP. So tell us what's new in the world. You've been doing Fresh SLP now for about a year, right?
A little over a year. The podcast The podcast is my favorite thing, one of my favorite things about Fresh SLP, and that's been going on for a year now. We just hit 52 this week. So in about 4 days, we'll hit 52 episodes, which is a year. So happy birthday to us. Fresh SLP began probably almost 2.5 years ago. And we are just really working hard on, it started off as Fresh Ideas for Therapy, where it was going to be an internet resource for SLPs. And we listened to the market. We listened to those who said, this is what I need. So we morphed into Fresh SLP, and we've been creating things according to what I'm hearing people need. So we began about 1.5 years ago with a website. We added a blog, we added a podcast. We started adding courses, big courses, and then everybody's like, nope, they're too long. We want them shorter so we can eat them up over lunchtime. And then we have a coaching component as well. So we've had a lot of fun developing it.
Yeah. So what is new with what you're doing? So the blog is new, right? The
blog is new. I guess the new things that we're doing is we added our membership site, and that opened probably 3 months ago. And that is a site where you have so many things available on that site, and that's where the courses live. That's where our communities live. So we have a private Facebook community for Fresh SLP members who are part of the membership site, where you can come and ask those questions. There are sometimes, it's interesting, at the end of a class, I'll teach a class and the whole class will leave except one student or maybe 2 students. And the first student will step up and ask a question. It's usually related to course material or something. And then the second student will step up and she'll ask a question, or he'll ask a question where they're like, well, I didn't want to ask this in front of the whole class because I feel I should know this, right? And it's 99% of the time a question that would have been wonderful for the class to hear. And so Fresh SLP community is the space for you to ask those questions for the brand new SLP who doesn't want to leave a social media trace and be asking some of these social media questions or questions that she or he has out in the social media world because they don't want any previous supervisors or potential work people looking and seeing where they asked a question, met SLP or something like that. And so that has been one of our new projects, is really working on building that safe community for new and transitioning SLPs, because no question is dumb. Every question that we've had has been just very valid and really fun to answer. So the membership site is new, and the community is new, and touchdowns are new. That is our twice a month, where we have a topic the first Thursday of every month at 8 p.m. Central Time. And the topics can be, one of my favorite topics was the Slp Rejection Challenge. And it was, how do you deal with rejection? And it's a really fun course, learning how to not take it personally and learn how to be brave and ask those questions. There's a lot more to it. And then the third Thursday of every month at 8 p.m. is the follow-up to those touchdowns, where we do just a Q&A, a bunch of Q&As regarding anything SLP, usually focused the first few minutes on the topic of the touchdown for the month, but then anything else goes after that. Those are some of our new projects. Lots of fun.
Well, I'm trying to think back to my CFY days, and I remember so much of my trust being just solely focused on my CFY supervisor, and just like all of my information came from that one place, and then my coursework, right? And I would imagine that having this type of resource would have really been beneficial, to have had a community to go to have had the chance to be coached by an SLP that's not my CFY supervisor, that I could ask questions about regarding soft skills, regarding, other things, about questions about how to navigate things with my CFY supervisor, right? Because sometimes people don't have the greatest CFY experience, and how to survive that, how to pick a CFY supervisor, all of those things. I imagine that I'm sure students and CFYs and even those that have finished their CFY would still benefit from your site. So I'm really glad you're doing this. And when I first saw your website, I was like, wow, this is great. And the visuals I told you this, the visuals are amazing. It's really good information. Tell us, you mentioned that you get your ideas, from what you're doing in clinic. Tell us more about that.
That's a good question, because I do get asked, where do you get your ideas from? I sometimes get them from my campus, just interactions with the students there, but a great deal of my content or ideas comes from the students that I interact with, either through at Fresh SLP, and we have a coaching program as well. We're going to start offering group coaching, but we have individual coaching, and so they'll ask, how do I know where I want my career to go if I don't even know what I can do? And so I take comments like that down from the people I work with, the one-on-one students I work with, or speech pathologists I work with. I also am very active in Facebook land. And so I see some of those comments that the new SLPs are asking, or grad SLPs. I'm active in a lot of the groups there, the private practice groups, the transitioning groups, the medical SLP groups, the high school SLP groups, just really seeing where people are having some of their struggles and trying to address some of those needs that they have. I'm also very active in webinars and in Nishla groups and ASHA groups, open forums and things like that, and really trying to make Fresh SLP responsive and sensitive to the needs of the new and transitioning SLPs in our world today, going through COVID.
So tell us more about your podcast, The Missing Link. You said it's been a year for that. Tell us, what have been your most popular podcasts?
The missing link for Fresh SLPs started off with so many of our ideas. We think we're going to go one way and we go another way. I have guests just lined up for the missing link for Fresh SLPs, and the podcast is a storytelling podcast where we just tell stories as SLP. So I invite guests on, and we have different series. One of them was it's done now, but we'll go back and pick it up again, the graduate student SLP series. So we talk to graduate students, undergraduate students who are looking to get into graduate school. Graduate students are starting just before they start or just before they graduate. We have some clinical fellows on there who talk about their clinical fellow experience. We then also have experts that come on. Christy Knickerbocker was a recent episode, and she's probably one of our most popular ones. She was so genuine and transparent in her interview. Sometimes we hold these experts up in our field and we think, oh my gosh, I'll never get there. And it's just like with my intro. The people I interview are passionate about their jobs, and this one step after another, they've built these wonderful careers. And I want people listening to the Missing Link for SLP's podcast to realize that they can have the careers that they dreamed of in graduate school. So many people start, I ask the students or I ask the guests, why do you want to be an SLP? And everybody has this great story. And so many of us, I shouldn't say so many of us, but some of us lose it because of burnout and being overwhelmed and not having support and not knowing where to turn for resources. And so that's why the Missing Link for Fresh SLP started the podcast. It's to talk to those people, to get ideas and open those doors to see what we can do as speech pathologists and really collaborate. Katie Strong she's a professor out of Central Michigan University. She's another top podcast. Amanda on the Day in the Life of a Rural SLP, Medical SLP is another top one. In about 3 weeks, we will be starting another series. We're going to go back to our Day in the Life of a Medical SLP. And we're going to be featuring 12 regular medical SLPs, and what does their life look like? What do they do? What are their challenges? What are their favorite parts of their job? So it's just really sharing stories, connecting.
So what would you say is really unique about Fresh SLP that are different from other membership sites?
I do not think there is another membership site out there that is at the level of the brand new SLP, or somebody who, I also have members who come through, and more of them now, they are, they started their careers in a school setting because that was the position that they had available, and then they want to transition into the medical setting. But it's really for the brand new SLP, the fresh SLP, or somebody who wants to shift inside, and how to even begin building that foundation, that transition between, okay, now I'm out of graduate school, or I'm going to be out of graduate school, and I'm going to have my very first dysphagia session, or my very first cognitive linguistic patient. What do I do? How do I manage a session? How do I spend my first 5 minutes in a session? And I don't have a professor anymore to really look over my shoulder, and my clinic supervisor may or may not be, but I would love an additional resource, or a cohort after graduate school to collaborate with and discuss and learn from. And so that is what Fresh SLP offers that nobody else offers.
Tell us about your mentorship. So, so you could have someone who's, did schools for a number of years. They're wanting to transition into the medical side. So it's possible that with the resources on your side and with your coaching, they could make that transition.
Yes. Yep. We have a story on one of our podcasts. Her name is Melissa, I believe. And she's just a shining example of, she started her career in the schools. She raised her family. She wanted to transition back into this SLP world. And she decided she wanted to go into the medical SLP route. And so we worked on that. I have coaching clients that I work with who, like I said, they because they had to, or they wanted to at the time, take their clinical fellows in the schools. Right. And they realized that this may not be where they want to go, and they would like to transition over to Med SLP. And we also have it the other way. Katie, Kelly Slp, I didn't coach her at all. She was a podcast guest, but she started off in the Med SLP world and shifted into the school setting and loves her work there. So Fresh SLP is, whether it's through podcasting, coaching, webinars, touchdowns, live streams, whatever it is, the courses that we offer, it's really empowering and supporting speech pathologists at the very basic level of how do I do this? The coaching is fun. We offer individual coaching, which is really great to get to know people individually. And we're also working on developing coaching packages, coaching groups, and you can purchase a package. And one of our popular packages is the career planning or the vision boarding. And it's all the things you can do as an SLP. And in that package, you do some visioning, vision boarding, creation, and then road mapping, and then identification of 1, 3, 5, and 10-year goals and objectives. Where do you want to be? Mm-hmm. So you don't wake up 1, 3, 5, and 10 years down the road saying, dang it, I wished I had planned this better. Another one is a group package, not a group package, but a coaching packages for the transitioning SLP who wants to shift either up into her career, more into the medical and niche down, or from one setting to the other.
And that's pretty common. That's pretty common mm-hmm. for SLPs to switch over, mm-hmm. to do a certain setting for a while and then need a change. And it's great to know that there's a mechanism available that speech therapists can, SLPs can go to, so that they're not flying on their own. Right. So So how can people get a hold of you if they're interested in coaching? How can people reach you?
Our website is www.freshslp.com, and you will find everything there that I've talked about. You'll find the membership program, which will take you to a separate website, Podia. That's where we manage our website. And from there, you will find our membership program. But freshslp.com is where you will find the membership program, the blogs, the courses, the free downloads, the podcast, all of those wonderful, fun things there. And then you can find us on Facebook. We've got Facebook groups. You can find me on Instagram, Fresh SLP. You can find me on Pinterest. Having a lot of fun.
Yeah. And if people sign up for your newsletter, then they'll get information about what all you're offering. And you do have some freebies in there too, I see. So so tell us what is new, what are you planning in the next couple of years with all of your projects? Other than doing what you're doing.
Yeah, we have some neat things coming out. We have, we're working on a planner just for students, and then a planner for clinical fellows. And we have some praxis ideas coming out. So we're going to be offering some praxis resources for students. And those will be launching this summer. So neat things coming out.
Great. Awesome.
We're also going to be offering some, just if you're a member of the group, the membership price for a student, I believe, is $8. And so we're going to offer some just fun group coaching where we're going to meet once a month, and we're going to break off into breakout rooms. We're going to do some interviewing of each other back and forth. So we're going to work on interviewing skills. We're going to work on writing resumes and cover letters. And we're going to be swapping with one another resumes and cover letters and giving feedback. So we're learning to help ourselves. We're learning to help others. I know in the clinical setting, we often do chart audits, and it can be uncomfortable having somebody else read and critique your work. And it can be uncomfortable reading and critiquing other people's work. So one of the things I do in the classes I teach is we have writing labs where we share and support and give feedback. And so I'm carrying some of that over into the community, Facebook community. And so you can come and we'll have interviewing groups where we work together with one another, providing feedback for one another and with our writing. And that's a really neat thing that we're going to be developing this summer as well.
Lots of projects. Sounds like that you're working on. You're a really busy person.
It's fun.
Lots of good content you have there, and really, really helpful to the CFY, to the new SLP, to the student. One of the things that I was thinking of as you were talking was I was remembering my graduate school days, and I remember the pressure that I felt to choose my track as a graduate student, and not really fully understanding all of the information to be able to make that kind of important decision, because I felt like I was making this decision that would impact, where I was going to live and what I was going to do and what income I was going to make and what kind of patients I was going to see. And, because it would change the kind of coursework I would have as a graduate student. So I had to make a decision now, my first year. And so if I had had a coach, or if I had the resources available to help me navigate, where do I want to go, and how do I get there, and what steps do I need to take to achieve my goal? I think that would have been extremely helpful, rather than just feeling like I'm out on an island all by myself. And I'm sure that there are a lot of students out there that are in that place right now that could use that kind of support.
Excellent. That's what we are working to support. That's who we are working to support. We also have an interesting, I don't know why I didn't mention this before. We also are doing outreach to international students, working hard on being just very inclusive and equal and anti-racist. And these students sometimes have just additional hurdles. And so providing resources for them as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add that you're doing, or any other special things you'd like my readers to know about?
No, come find us. We have a free Facebook group, Fresh SLP. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to see some comments, and drop in the comments what you would like us to create for you, and come listen to our podcast. We have so much fun on that podcast, and just come join us. We have a lot of fun. Thank you.
And folks don't have to sign up for the membership to benefit from the site, right?
No, not at all. I believe Fresh SLP is my legacy back to a career that has just richly blessed me. I'm not a speech pathologist because of the money I make or the prestige I have. I'm a speech pathologist because I love giving to people and making people's lives better. When I was a clinician, it was the patients that I worked with. And now in this stage of my career, it's the students, it's the new SLPs. And so I give so many free downloads and so many valuable resources because I want you to succeed. It's not a sales funnel. It's not a pitch. It's not like, oh, I'm going to give you a little bit. I remember high school prom night, I went to the mall to Merle Norman. They had those makeup counters, right? And they said, yep, we'll do your makeup for prom night. And I thought, oh, this is wonderful, because I was an athlete. I did not do makeup. And I sat in the chair and they did half of my face. And they said, well, if you want the other half of your face, you have to buy these products. Well, I was a high schooler. I worked at McDonald's. I didn't have the money for that. And that story has stuck with me. So Fresh SLP is not half of a makeover. It's come, and I will give you what I can give you for free because I believe in you. I believe in us. I believe in our career. And Fresh SLP is a business, and I will unashamedly ask for support and membership because I want to be able to continue to provide these services. So much of it is free. Much of it is free.
And people can just try a course, right? They can just take a course and see how they like it, and then they can go on and get the membership after that. And then there are monthly options and yearly options available.
Monthly and 3-month options. It's not meant to be a membership that lasts on and on and on. It's meant to be a short-term membership site, and then you move on to the bigger sites because then you're ready for the bigger dogs. So it really is this missing link, this bridge between graduate school and starting a new career.
I'm so glad you're doing this, and I'm so glad our paths crossed because you are just such a great person to know, and I always enjoy speaking with you and just chatting with you. I always learn so much, and you're so inspiring. You help me remember why I do what I do and how I got into this field in the first place. So thank you so much for taking the time to come on over to the channel. And if there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. Is it any final thoughts?
Final thoughts, just be strong, be resilient, be brave. These are harder times for all of us, and be collaborative, be friendly, self-advocate, so many things. Thank you so much for having me on and giving me a voice to say what's in my head and in my heart. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you. And that is the show for today. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time. Please let others know about what you heard on this YouTube channel. And we really appreciate your time. And we just hope you have a great day and stay safe out there. Bye-bye.